I'm curious, have you ever been in a place where you have a lot of stuff that your client or your prospect needs to change before they can accept your product or service? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 3 words that you can use in your vocabulary today, which will help you to close more deals and help you to overcome any barriers to change in your sales process. What's happening, Sales Ascender? Sean here, back at you with another high-ticket tune-up. Today is Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. It's hump day. I hope you're having a great week this week. Let's just jump right into it. Got a great question today from Ralph. Ralph says this. He says, Sean, my prospects have to go through a lot of changes internally when I sell my services, and I'm wondering if you had a formula I could use to help. And I love the question because there is a 3-word formula that I'm going to share with you today that will be able to definitely help you overcome any barriers to change that your prospect may have to go through in order to accept your product or service and move on in a great scenario. I learned this when I first started studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So this one's going to be around the NLP side of things. In fact, this particular skill came out of a book called the Persuasion Skills Black Book, which I highly recommend. Is written by Rintu Basu. So it's Persuasion Skills Black Book. It's the practical NLP language patterns that get the responses you want. So let's just jump right into it. I think it's going to be powerful. So the first word that we need to focus on is the word yet. What does this mean? Well, yet is a word, if we think about the English language, if we're using it in a sales context, it means we're not quite there. It means we haven't achieved the final result that we're looking to get to. And so how do we use this in a sales context? Well, the idea is it lends itself to forward pacing or thinking into the future. You're saying, hey, I love what you're doing, but we're just not quite there yet. You're not getting the results that you want yet. And it sets the stage for your prospect to say, like, you're right. And they can't not agree with you because they know they haven't achieved the results that you know you can get them. And so using this in as kind of the first trigger word is definitely key. So we position the conversation. So whenever an objection comes our way, we say, well, that's great, but we just haven't quite got there yet. And when you say it, your tonality needs to be heavily emphasizing the word yet. So practice this in the mirror. Right? Whatever you're going to do, say the thing. Whenever objection comes your way, it's like, oh, that's great objection. It's just because we haven't gotten there yet. And then pause for like 1 to 3 seconds. And then we start using the second word, which is but. So it sounds something like, so we want to go yet and then but. And so when we're saying this in conversation, it's like, oh, that's like we haven't quite gotten you the results that you're looking to get yet, but that's because we haven't formulated the next response that you're going to be using. And then the last word is and. Once we implement this one little piece, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the and when you use this in combination, this is an NLP straight up right out of the Persuasion Code Black Book, Persuasion Skills Black Book, just yet, but, and. So when you get an objection or you're having a sales conversation, one of the most important things that you can focus on is remembering yet, but, and. And when you think about yet, but, and you use it when you're handling any type of objection or change that your client or your prospect has to overcome and move forward, that's it. So in this case, Ralph says, my prospects have to go through a lot of changes internally when I sell my service, and I'm wondering if you had a formula I could use to help out. So when they say, hey, listen, we're implementing this big machinery into your company, but we haven't got it quite there yet. But the cool thing is when it is there, you're going to see the efficiency of your facility explode, and you're going to start hitting the profit numbers. See how this can work anywhere, all the time? So whatever language you're using or whatever you're saying, remember these 3 words. It comes out of somebody who's way smarter than me that teaches NLP for a living. But I know that I use this very often in how I speak when it's either I'm doing presentations or I'm handling sales calls or dealing with objections, just overcoming barriers to change that I know my prospect has to go through. And when I share this 3-word sentence pattern and I include it in my conversation, I could tell you that the results are lightning. So practice this one. Think about how you can use the YBA move. It's the yet, but, and strategy. And just remember yet, but, and. So we haven't gotten there yet, but once we do, this is going to happen, and this is the result that you're going to get. Yet, but, and that will help you to break the stagnation of if you're sitting with a prospect and they're stuck and they don't know how to move forward. Just remember yet, but, and just try to put it into your language. And the more you practice, obviously the better you're going to get. As with anything, goes without saying. So, and all that said, guess what? You've just been tuned up. I know yet, but, and is going to stick in your memory today. YBA, yet, but, and sticking in your brain today. And you're going to use it in your sales game. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to generate more sales, and you're going to be easily overcoming barriers to change for anybody. With that said, I love you. I'll definitely see you tomorrow.